So what's new? I mean, we had a heated, friendly discussion last
Yeah, I was
time.
really that was really a great discussion, and I noticed a lot of the comments once we put it on YouTube. People thought that we were ready to throw blows,
Yeah.
but
Nah,
I
we're fine.
I think we're all good here, so don't worry.
So I have to ask the important questions. So we might as well just get this part out of the way right away.
Yeah,
Did you get it? The
I
expansion
did
pack?
not.
You did
I
not
did
get
not.
it.
I'm not even
Okay.
remotely tempted, and I haven't been following it super closely, but a
Sure.
lot of people I know are really happy for the opportunity to play some games that I maybe never had a chance to play
Sure.
because the 64 was before them, or they missed it, or they just really missed the N64 and they want to play it more. But then there's at least equally the number of people who are complaining that it's the worst emulation ever. They're giving some pretty compelling pictures that would support that. And online, not predictably, or well, rather predictably, is not good. And then I don't know. Now I have no hands-on experience, so I would defer to you on this. How has your experience been?
My experience has been mixed. And you disappeared from the stream for just a second. You're going to come back in here in just a moment. I need to make it so you can see me.
Yeah, I'm flying blind.
Okay, let's see if we can fix that real quick here. Can we get you out
Thanks
of
to everyone in the
settings?
chat there who is coming to hang out with us. I see Infraggable, Bobo Fett 72, Deku Link Gamer.
All the heavy hitters are here.
All the heavy hitters are here. Oh, I see you now. Wow. Now we can begin properly.
And I almost have you where you need to be. For some reason, like you're floating in the air just a bit. Almost there. Almost there. You know what that's gonna have to do. That's gonna have to do for right now. So,
Works for me.
okay. So my experience with Nintendo Switch Online has been this. The Nintendo 64 games are still fun. I played Star Fox 64. It was a blast. I am playing through Ocarina of Time once again, and it's just as fun as I remember. It's obviously the fifth or sixth time I've played this game, and if not more, I mean, honestly, it's probably the fifth or sixth console I've played this game on because it's been re-released on. We had it on Nintendo 64, on GameCube, on 3DS, on Wii, on Wii U. Now,
So then can I ask you if you've played these recently enough, or if your memory of these is strong enough where you can actually make a comparison, or is the experience close enough to the same between those versions, 3DS I suppose notwithstanding, that anybody would not really notice much of a difference?
so 3DS not included. There is next to no difference. And I want to call something out. There's been all of this negativity about input lag and other things that might be missing from Ocarina of Time. Specifically, people are calling out like this fog that,
Yeah, this pictures from the water temple where
yeah,
there's no reflection in the water and the water's like weirdly crisp.
for God's sakes, it's not that big of a deal. It's sincerely not. I mean, if you're a first time player, hell, if you haven't played Ocarina of Time for a long time, you're never gonna notice. It's never gonna be something that even remotely triggers you. If you are somebody who is a nitpicker and you have to find flaws in something, yes, you might notice that the fog is not as dense in the opening areas of Kokiri Forest and in that little water temple type area where you fight Dark Link. Yes.
Right.
The
Now,
input
I don't.
and the input lag is negligible. I'm not noticing any whatsoever. Some people are doing tests and they're saying, oh, it's 2 frames worse than it used to be. I don't notice it whatsoever. I am kicking just as much, enemy butt as I had before. So I destroyed Goma in 2 rounds using Deku sticks with no issues whatsoever.
I'm not sure I would notice a 2 frame input lag. Input lag is noticeable when it happens within the context of a single game. Like if I'm online and I'm playing Smash Brothers and the game responds a certain way and then suddenly the connection isn't as strong and the character responds differently. I
Yeah.
notice that when there's a change during the context of the play. Otherwise, I adapt pretty well. And like you alluded to, I'm not sure that I would notice a difference if I were to play the Water Temple, say, and it didn't have the fog or the reflection.
Yeah.
But when you look at the two side-by-side comparisons, as some people have been posting online on Twitter and such, it is a pretty stark contrast. It's hard to say that this isn't the worst looking version.
They found the 1 2-minute segment in the game that looks worse because it's missing a layer of fog. And that's what they zero in on.
And not just
and that is the negativity
it's missing
of
the reflection and some of the depth. So in a lot of ways, it's missing its atmosphere. For most people, that moment is kind of a key moment. Of every single thing in Ocarina of Time,
yeah,
the part that like arrested me, with the strongest impact, was that single moment where you walk into this room that is otherwise unoccupied, and then at some point you realize you're being shadowed by your shadow.
And I get
so
that.
That really caught me.
Yeah, no, I do. And obviously I'm not at that point in the game yet. I'm not sure how anybody got to that point in the game since it came out and when those screenshots came out. I'm baffled a bit by that.
These guys are speedrunners.
Got it. Well,
that
would make sense.
So they're more attuned. Yeah, they're more attuned to the nuances of the game. So their criticisms are going to be, I think, pretty refined compared to what the average player would notice, like you're saying. But something along those lines, it's less so much, I think, that it bothers me than that it perplexes me. It makes me wonder, why is it that fans and amateurs can emulate these games better than Nintendo's capable of emulating even their own games? Like that, I'm just perplexed.
It's an in-house emulator that they used. It's the same one they used on Mario 64 in the 3D All-Stars collection. And
it seems, as far as I could tell, like a pretty good emulation of Mario 64.
Yeah, and Mario 64,
faithful enough.
Launch title, they're not really messing with major particle effects and fogging, at least to a certain degree. I think there might have been some in that Haunted Mansion stage. I can't remember. But yeah, it's not as good as free emulated emulators like that you can get online. So to that degree, I'm not sure why. And I'm not.
On the whole, you'd say your experience is positive? I mean, I know you said it was pretty mixed, but would you say it's worth it for you?
Here's what I'll say. And many of you are going to be very happy to know that my opinion of the service has gone down to a certain level. I still think it doesn't deserve the hate that it's getting. But from a single player experience, it's great. The time I've spent in Star Fox and Ocarina of Time, fantastic. And you're smirking because you know what I'm going to say next.
No, I'm smirking because I actually have the exact opposite feeling. I was really hoping that my impression was going to be changed. I was really hoping that people would be coming with these rave glowing reviews of these are the best emulations so far. The Wii U, which, I mean, for me, and here's where I'm going to get the hate.
Sure.
The Wii U is the GOAT. I think it is so far Nintendo's pinnacle achievement. There are definitely things that Switch does better, no doubt. And there are definitely things about the Wii U that are not good. But some of the things that they achieved on the Wii are still better than what we have on the Wii U, and Virtual Console is chief among them. And the Virtual Console got a lot of criticism because it ran a little bit dark. It wasn't quite as vibrant as some of the originals. And I noticed that. Maybe it didn't impact my playing much, but when people do the side-by-side comparisons, I am capable. I have eyes. I'm capable of seeing that it's not the best emulation. So I was hoping that maybe this would be correcting some of those problems where Nintendo's had a long time to bake this. And people have been wanting either faithful adaptations of this up-resed into HD, which it looked like from the trailer that the N64 stuff looked fantastic.
It does.
It
sincerely does. I don't want there to be any mistake about my opinion on the classic games. I am a Nintendo 64 junkie. I have every game physically. I have every console.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I have been collecting Nintendo 64 for quite a long time. These games look great. On the Switch OLED, they look fantastic. Oddly enough, the Sega Genesis games were the games that made me drop my jaw with the OLED. I was playing through Castlevania Bloodlines, which was a Genesis exclusive Castlevania game. And the black on the Switch OLED screen makes every sprite in that first stage pop in ways I've never seen before. It was gorgeous. But back to 64. Where everything fell apart was in multiplayer. And I was not playing with somebody in a different country. I was playing with somebody who's in chat right now, Dr. Saturn. So Ricky Berg. We were playing through Mario Kart 64. We were playing through, what was it called? What's that Win game? I got my Switch right here. I got to pull this up. Is it called Windfall? Is it really? I don't think it's called Windfall. But I was wrong with the Happy Home Companion thing. Whatever it's called. Win back. And we played through Star Fox 64, all in multiplayer. My God, was it bad.
Oh, no.
It was... So, one thing you might not know about this, and if you've seen the rounds on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, how the system keeps a consistent frame rate when it's doing multiplayer, and because Nintendo has no dedicated servers, is that if there's a fluctuation with one person's game, let's say we're playing Mario Tennis and I'm serving, it needs to make sure that our screens are on the same frame before it can proceed. And if it's not, it is going to get incredibly weird. Like, you can't really see it from a visual perspective, but you can really hear it from the audio. Nintendo knows that so much that they put a disclaimer at the bottom of the screen if your connection is poor. And it says audio may be distorted during these, while connection's poor. And it sounds like pure nightmare fuel.
So they don't stop the sound. They kind of alter it to match the tempo. So you can be like here and then all of a sudden.
So are you familiar with like creepypasta?
Yeah.
So there's creepypasta for like Pokemon and Zelda, and they do great jobs. And it's like really weirdly distorted, high-pitched, low-pitched, creepy versions of music. And Mario Kart 64 was full of that. It was So Ricky and I were using the voice chat app that's built into smartphones for Nintendo Switch Online. We were the only two people in the history of Nintendo Switch Online to use that portion of the service. So we were talking about that yesterday, and during it, we were just cracking up. It was we just thought it was hilarious. If he wasn't there, though, it would have been creepy.
Yeah.
Like if that's the kind of thing like you're afraid if you wake up at like 2 a.m. and you just hear weird music. That's the kind of music you would have heard coming from Mario Kart 64.
Oh no.
Star Fox worked well though. So we played Star Fox 64. That worked very, very well. Obviously it depends on your connection. We both have very good internet connections. We weren't hardwired in, so we weren't connected like via, the Switch OLEDs, Cat 5.
Oh, the LAN adapter.
Yeah.
Or not necessarily the adapter. I guess on OLED it's on board.
But I have gigabit internet here.
Yeah.
And 650 megabits per second for Wi-Fi. There's no reason why it should have been that bad. Somebody in the chat wrote Ben Drowned, which was one of the best creepypastas ever for Zelda. So exactly like Ben Drowned. I thought of that specifically.
That's horrible.
So to Nintendo's, I guess, to what they did with the service. The multiplayer is garbage. It's absolutely a disgrace. It should never even be included. That's how bad it is.
And that's kind of the biggest selling point, I think.
And that is, and that's what I was most excited about.
You could take these 4-player games and experience them with friends scattered around the world.
And it's something where if Nintendo is going to continue to charge $50 a month, they need to start investing in dedicated servers for this stuff. Seriously,
what needs to happen for Nintendo to take some of those banked billions and invest in their own infrastructure so that they can actually start supplying the kind of internet required to sell the service that they're selling? That's confounding.
So
going back a little bit with Bloodlines, did you happen to have played the Castlevania collection that Konami released?
I did, yeah.
Do
Which
you have
one?
any comparison between that? Well, the first one has Bloodlines on it, so I'm just curious how it stacks up to the
Oh,
one.
I can't tell you if I saw a difference. So
I played that game for the first time on that Castlevania collection, which I thought was pretty cool. And what that game allows you to do, as well as the Castlevania Advance collection, is remap all of the buttons, which I immediately had to do. So I was just floored when reports came out that Nintendo Switch Online does not let you remap to accommodate the N64 controller's
that was
layout
one thing I
on
was super
new.
surprised about.
Yeah, that's so confounding.
The biggest thing I saw was if you have a Joy-Con that drifts. So let's say your right Joy-Con stick drifts, which a lot of people's do.
Yeah.
In Ocarina of Time, the C stick is mapped to that. So
Oh,
whatever
no.
item you have there is just going do 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 do.
Oh no.
So yeah, that's not great. However,
Okay.
I still enjoy the service. I love that I can see a big stack of Nintendo 64 games just sitting there for me to play. For me, it's worth it because again, I love that system. I love it to death. Could I emulate it? Yes. Have I emulated it? Yes. Do I have all the ROMs? Yes. Do I own all the carts? Yes. If I can play it on the go, on the Switch, in a way that is intended, I guess legal, I suppose would be the best way to put it. You know,
I think you're
like
covered.
it.
You have every one of these. You're backed up. You have every one of these games in every possible conceivable version.
So I'm not like anti-emulation either. I'm not saying don't go emulate a game. Like I have emulated plenty of games. I've hacked NES and SNES Classic. I shouldn't say that, but whatever.
You're a wizard.
I am when it comes to that. But I still like having them on the system. And to me, it's personally worth it. However, I am coming around to people who are a bit more upset about the service, especially the shoddy network performance of online. And that should be the selling point.
Yeah, I keep waiting for Nintendo to surprise us on that because I feel like we all sound like a broken record. Oh, Nintendo's online is atrocious. Nintendo doesn't know how to do online right. Nintendo does not have reliable online. I just keep waiting for that not to be the expectation. Yeah. I expect Nintendo's online to be horrible because that's the experience that they've provided for me thus far. And I'm excited for when the day comes where people are like, remember when Nintendo used to not know how to do online right? I'm so glad that's a thing of the past. So I thought this would be it.
It's been since the GameCube. It has been Nintendo. The GameCube suffered because the PS2 and the Xbox were online in sincerely better ways than the GameCube was. The GameCube was online with like Phantasy Star Online, and I think that was about it. I think that was like their only online game.
Animal Crossing had some like friend code online interconnectivity.
Oh no, did we lose TJ? So, fun fact, we're gonna see if we can get TJ back. But fun fact, TJ's all the way in Taiwan. If you don't know this already, so occasionally we can run into these problems. Also, it's kind of hilarious that this is happening right now because we're bashing Nintendo's online service. So, it's kind of the cosmic way of saying internet sucks.
I'm back.
You're back, and it's great because we were just talking about how crappy Nintendo's online service is.
I know. Well, it's not limited to Nintendo, I guess.
So maybe it's my fault. Maybe my internet sucks. Or it's yours.
We invoked the Nintendo spirits, and they were like, oh, they're talking about internet. We better make this horrible so that we live up to the expectations.
That could be the case. How long were you talking before you realized you were gone?
Almost instantly, my computer screen gave me a notification. I think I was talking about how my brother and I had some sort of interaction in Animal Crossing on the GameCube from separate. I had moved out of my parents' home at that point, and he still lived at home, and we were somehow trading something. I don't remember what it was because it's some 20 years ago, but very limited and very bad.
Yeah. So my last thing I'll say on this before we move on, because we spent an entire hour on this last time, and we're coming up on a half hour on it again this week. If you plan on getting the Animal Crossing DLC and you like Nintendo 64 games, I still recommend this. If you have 8 friends who like Nintendo 64 games and don't necessarily want to play them online, I recommend this. However, if you are somebody who is on the fence with the Nintendo 64 stuff and have no intention on getting Animal Crossing, I cannot in good conscience recommend it. That being said, for people like me, so I have 8 people on my friend group, my family circle. It still makes sense economically for me. 6 out of the 8 of us, I just confirmed, 6 out of the 8 are getting the DLC. There's only 2 people on my plan that aren't getting it.
If the DLC was the only thing offered by this expansion pass, it would still be worth it for you. So the Sega and the N64 games are just gravy in your particular case.
Yeah. But again, the Nintendo 64 stuff, I'm a sucker when it comes to that. I've been waiting for Nintendo 64 stuff. I thought we'd have to wait longer, to be honest. I thought Game Boy for sure was going to be next. So I'm happy.
So did I.
And then again, I think for me, the Sega Genesis is kind of the gravy, where it's kind of nice having the Genesis games on there. And again, the OLED makes those old retro games, especially darker games like Castlevania, oh my god, they look great. They look so good. So I will contest that you win the debate about.
But I wouldn't say that because you're winning. Like, you getting it is winning, and me not getting it is not winning. So like you're making out, and I don't really even have a way to play.
I kind of want to just put you on my family plan just so you can have the experience of playing it, and you don't have to like succumb to like buying the service.
I appreciate that, but I do have my own plan, and Nintendo is almost, and this is a TJ issue. I'm on the edge of being able to comprehend the complex matrix required to be able to maintain connectivity between the 2 different switches we have in the home and my Nintendo plan. And I know as soon as we get a Switch for my son, my brain's going to melt.
Yeah.
Because trying to keep track of how to make sure what profile is on what Switch and who can play what games, because I have a purely digital collection.
Yeah,
so it's hard to
a pain in the butt.
It's a pain.
So my daughter has a Switch Lite, and if I am playing a game, and because all my digital games are on her Switch Lite, but she's listed as the secondary system, but it can tell if I'm playing a game, and it doesn't matter if it's the same game or not, it will kick her off.
Right.
Which is a real pain in the butt.
Yeah. The way I've made it work,
there needs to be better family sharing.
That's the thing. We need family sharing. So Netflix has a pretty good solution for that, where you get a certain number of members who can do it simultaneously.
Yeah.
So like only 2. If Netflix notices that 3 people are watching on my Netflix plan, they say, you got too many people watching right now. I don't understand why you can't do that within your own Switch family of systems.
I know they want you to buy more copies of the same game, and from a purely corporate standpoint, I get it.
I think they could sell more Switches though. So if they were like, hey, so TJ, you love Zelda. You already own 2 Switches. We're gonna make this special Zelda one. Why don't you just buy another one? I would not even bat an eye if I could just welcome it into my family. I'd probably have 3 Switch Lights already.
I feel like Nintendo's not making the money on that though. Nintendo's making significantly more money on they're making significantly more money on software. What do you think their profit margin is on a Switch? It can't be high.
It can't be high. I know they're making more money on the software, but they're making no money on me now because I'm not going to buy the same piece of software that I already bought. So I'm not going to buy Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze for 3 different Switches. I might buy 3 Switches so that my kids can both play the games that I've already downloaded on my family plan.
It sounds like you need to be a physical game owner again.
Except that, I listened to some other podcasts, and I think it was my buddy Sean Capri was saying, hey, I had a taste to play some Smash Brothers, and then we realized we don't know where our Smash Brothers cartridge is. That's exactly what it would be like in my house with the gauge that my kids are. We have to retire cords, and we have to retire cartridges. We have to be purely digital. Otherwise, the physical cartridge would mean nobody could play.
Yeah, my youngest daughter almost ate my copy of Final Fantasy X.
And then she realized it tasted like pure bitter yuck.
No, so Lauren, my beautiful wife Lauren, she grabbed it out of her hands before she could put it in her mouth, and she put it over somewhere else. And like 3 minutes later, she somehow got it again. She was determined to eat that delicious Switch cart.
She
Thank
knows
God
a good game.
She does. It is a great game, by the way.
If I can quickly reference a comment from the comment section here, Logan James is acknowledging that last week I said nobody should care about the Sega Genesis games, and there was a funny little meme about that exchange that we had on Twitter.
I saw that.
I just want to clarify. I'm not saying that Sega is not good. I'm saying that Sega has already made all of their games available in extremely attractive packages on the Nintendo Switch for extremely low prices. So you don't need the online collection. You could drop $30 and have 80 classic Sega games already on the Switch without the expansion pack. That was my point.
But now I own an officially licensed Nintendo controller that is shaped like a Sega Genesis controller, to the point where on the back it says Sega, and right next to it it says Nintendo.
To somebody of our generation, that's mind-blowing.
It is amazing to see that. If you showed me that picture 15 years ago, my mind would just be blown.
Yeah, in 1992, I think you were a sorcerer.
Yeah, it's pretty great. So that being said, Switch Online, it's good in small doses, I guess, for specific groups of people. So there we go.
So Logan, I loved that meme. That was hilarious. It was funny to see. I came off pretty aggressive, but that was the point I was trying to make.
You did. All the Sega fanboys were very, very upset. All right. I want to talk about Pikmin real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
So here's the thing. So Pikmin Bloom is coming from Niantic. So Niantic, the same people that do Ingress. If you're super into the old AR games, or I guess the more common ones would be Pokemon Go or Harry Potter. There's a Harry Potter weird Pokemon Go-esque game as well. But they are making a Pikmin walking game with Nintendo, and Nintendo is really, really pushing this. I mean, Miitomo was on a video yesterday showcasing the game. The CEO of Niantic was showing it off. I mean, we knew this game was coming for some time, but now we're finally starting to seeing it roll out in certain regions in the world. Is it out by you yet, by the way?
It's not, much to my chagrin, because I watched that trailer yesterday and I lost my mind. My second boy loves Pikmin. Like, he has all the Pikmin plushies. He carries them to his breakfast table every morning. He pretends to feed them. He made them clothes a couple days ago, and then I get this announcement, and I'm like, oh, I cannot wait to show this to him. And at the end of the trailer, I see there's like 3 seconds left in the teaser, and they still said nothing about release date. I'm like, come on, when does it come out? And the guy just, oh yeah, and it's out now. I could not have grabbed my phone faster. And Apple is not recognizing the word Pikmin. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Are you talking about this game or that game? So apparently it's only out in Australia and Singapore.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, because it was in Singapore. I wondered if you were close enough somehow.
We're close,
to grab it.
But not quite close enough. We're closer to Japan.
Yeah, I do have an Australian account, so I could download it. But yeah, I haven't had the chance yet. But it's interesting. It's more relaxing than most games. So Pokemon Go, the idea is to like capture Pokemon and do battles and stuff like that. Literally, the purpose of this game is to walk around and plant flowers. Yeah.
If you were to ask me who the audience is for this, if it were not for my son, I would say I have no idea. But this was made 100% perfectly for him. He loves flowers and nature and butterflies and Pikmin, and the idea of him being able to populate the paths that we walk on a normal day with have Pikmin follow him. He pretends almost every day walking home from school that he's my yellow Pikmin.
Yeah.
And so if he's having Pikmin follow him and he's able to see, I'm not sure exactly what way they're going to utilize the AR technology. Maybe he could look through the phone and see the plants that he's planted in my real world.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. And because we live in Taiwan, we have no car, we walk everywhere. So this would definitely be very easily integrated in our life, and I think my son would really gravitate to this.
Here's where I'm stuck, and maybe you can help me. Where I'm stuck is I feel like the audience for this game is already playing Pokemon Go. And for me, Pokemon Go, I've invested years into it. And it's my go-to.
You're really into it.
Yeah, it's my go-to AR game, and it's most of my friends who, are in any capacity Pokemon or Nintendo fans. They're playing this game too. I'm at this place now. If I'm out and I'm walking, I have Pokemon Go open. Now I have to decide, do I want to have Pikmin open or do I want to have Pokemon Go open? And I'm probably going to say Pokemon Go. I mean, Pikmin, yes, at first. I'm definitely going to play it. But that being said, I think they're almost competing with themselves to a point where the same company, using the same technology, using two of, I guess Pikmin's not one of Nintendo's biggest IPs, but taking two beloved Nintendo IPs and having them do almost the exact same thing, I think it's kind of odd to a certain level. With Harry Potter, I got why Niantic did that, because it's appealing to a completely different demographic of people. Where this game, Pikmin, I feel like it's already appealing to the people playing Pokemon Go. So I have no idea how that's going to turn out. I hope there's a way that if I'm out playing Pokemon Go, that the Pikmin game can run in the background and I can still plant flowers and pick things up and check it out later. But it's going to be weird just jumping back and forth between the two apps.
It does sound like, and I'm not for sure on this, like Pikmin can run completely in the background, even if the app is not even on.
Okay,
so it is
great.
Possible that you could do both simultaneously. But my sense is that it's not going to pull Pokemon Go players away from Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Maybe as a novelty, as you mentioned, you're going to try it and then probably go right back to Pokemon Go. I think that's probably what most people will do.
Yeah.
But for the more casual walker who doesn't want to stop and try to catch Pokemon, I think that this is a completely passive way to be active. It's a passive way to make your activity more engaging. I think I'm more inclined to do Pikmin. For me, we did do Pokemon Go quite a bit, but I used it as a way of kind of calming my kids while I ran. I was like, I want to run, so I'm going to hand you my phone and push you around in a stroller for the next 3 miles, and you're going to be happy because you're catching Pokemon, and I'm going to be happy because I'm getting the exercise I want. And that worked while my kids were in strollers. And then I found that once they were big enough to walk and run on their own, they're not fast enough to keep up with me, and I'm not confident enough with them walking around flicking my $1,000 smartphone.
Sure.
So I started to move away from Pokemon at that point. And this is something I think I'm more likely to do, where I can still kind of be the master of my smart device, but the kids can see the progress that they're creating with their walking. And they don't need to necessarily, I hope not, that they don't need to fight about whose profile it is and what's happening. That we can all just mutually delight in the charm of these little Pikmin following us and planting flowers on our frequented paths. I'm hoping it's that. I don't think that they're necessarily going to compete with Pokemon, because I think that they're catching the crowd that maybe Pokemon is just requires a little bit more attention than they're willing or able to pay on their walks.
Yeah. I'd like to think it's going to be a runaway success. I think at first, a lot of Nintendo fans are going to pick it up and play it. I'm not sure what the lasting appeal is going to be. And again, I'll kind of hold my judgment until I actually get my hands on it. I do know there's microtransactions in the game, like all other Niantic games. So you can buy Nectar, which I'm guessing will power up Pikmin faster. I have no idea. I'm sure they're going to make a killing on that to a certain degree, at least at first. But what I do like about this game compared to Pokemon Go, in Pokemon Go, it's very, unless you're doing like a gym battle or a raid, it's very lonely. You can't see other avatars on screen. It's all the same kind of boring, just green grass and like the silhouettes of the roads. There's not a lot of character, and I like the idea that you can see other people's progress in the game. You can see there's flowers in this area. Somebody else planted these flowers. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
So I like that.
I'm kind of excited about that. I think that anybody who frequents the same paths that we do is going to be seeing unbelievable plumage, because we walk I walk to the gym every single day on the same path. I walk to my kids' school 3 or 4 times a day. So we're gonna have like a very, very beautiful gardens spanning from my apartment to all of our more regular destinations. And I'm curious to see what other people who activate this app will also be planting,
Yeah.
and seeing how those gardens develop together. Also, I lived in California when Pokemon Go first came out, and it was a big deal. Like, people were getting in car accidents because they were trying to catch Pokemon while they were driving,
Yep.
and people were walking face first into open sewer grates. Like, it was a big deal, and everybody was playing it, and it seemed like, more so than any other thing that had ever happened in the history of the world, humanity was united in a single activity simultaneously.
Yeah.
And it was just the perfect storm of technology and Pokemon. I thought Pokemon was a big thing.
Yeah.
And then I came to Taiwan. Pokemon Go, pre-pandemic, is a phenomenon.
Yeah.
Like, outside of my apartment, if they have some kind of raid going on in the park, you can't walk. It looks like you're at a theme park.
That's great, though.
It's like 500 adults who are all trying to catch these various Pokemon, and it is amazing. It's really something to witness. I don't know that this game is going to have as broad of appeal because, as you said, Pikmin is not as big of a property as Pokemon, which is the world over. Pikmin is more niche, but I do imagine if it follows anything similar to the pattern of Pokemon, it's going to be big here, probably bigger here than in America. So I'm just really excited to see how it's actually going to materialize in the real world. And I'm disappointed it's not there yet. I hope. I read this great article on NintendoWire.com, I believe written by Jennifer Birch, saying that it's going to roll out steadily over the week. I hope that Taiwan is pretty close on that list, because I want to get going with this game.
Yeah, hopefully next week we can have a conversation about it, see where we are with it. So I'm hoping that if it's not out I'd say by tomorrow in the US, I'm just going to download it on the Australian account. And
I can probably do that too, huh? Like,
yeah, you just have to create it. I think you need like a fake Australian accent, or not accent, a fake Australian address. You don't need the accent to get the game. It would help, though.
I can do the accent, but I don't know that I can figure out the address.
There's a voice recognition system in the app. You have to have the accent. I have to point out, too, that Deku Link Gamer said that you get to play as a Mii. That's another point that we never really talked about.
We didn't mention that yet. Oh, yeah.
Maybe there'll be a Mii maker back in the game. That'd be great. I miss Miitomo so much.
What if they packaged Miitomo in this, and
that would get me to get it?
Like Miitomo Light, where you have some room where you can dress up your guy and you could spend your money on the clothes. Miitomo is the only Nintendo app, aside from Mario Run, which was an outright purchase of $9.99, I spent money on. I spent money on Miitomo because it was so worth it for me. I wanted the clothes, and granted, our utilization of that software was a little bit different than most people, so we got a little bit more mileage out of it, I think, than most.
Yeah.
But like, I never spent a dime on Fire Emblem Heroes, even though I played a lot of it. And Dragalia Lost, I never even booted up. I don't spend money on any of these apps. Dr. Mario, please.
Yeah. Getting the costumes with those little mini games, that was a blast.
I loved it.
The first week that Miitomo was out, everybody was playing it. Like, everybody. And that was like peak fun for almost any game I've ever played. Because you were finding out dark secrets about your friends.
Yeah,
like,
it was hilarious.
It was such a fun time. It was like this moment that we're never going to get back. And I want to go back to the first week of Miitomo. So much fun.
I'll treasure those memories forever.
So, anything else on Pikmin? Anything else you want to touch on that we might have missed?
No, I'm excited to follow up on it. I'm glad they mentioned the Mii, though, because that is a big perk that this game's got going for it.
I love that Infragable used the cuter in person emoji in chat. So that's one of the emojis you get if you subscribe, and he's the first person to organically use it. It's a crummy emoji, but thank you for using it. I had to throw it in there.
That's awesome.
All right, let's close things out on Sora and Smash. That was one of the videos that I had synced up, ready to go. So I'm going to have to throw that on the screen real quick and mute it. Ignore the audio. It's going to get loud. Oh, God, we're going to get copyright striked. Okay. All right. We're good.
You did it.
I did it. Sora and Smash. this was something I'm surprised we never got to last week, but we were
Yeah.
too busy ripping each other's faces off.
Yeah, violently.
Yes. But Sora and Smash is something that you and I have both been predicting for
Yep.
some time.
Yeah, before Fighters Pass 2, before we even knew one character from Fighters Pass 2.
Yeah. How do you feel now that he's here?
I feel happy for Kingdom Hearts fans. I've never played a Kingdom Hearts game, although I grew up through all of them, so I was very aware of them, and I thought that the idea of it was cool. I don't know. I think it intentionally holds the record for the most convoluted story and cross-game progression of any narrative that's ever been told, not just limited to gaming. You can extend that to any form of media, comics, movies. It's pure insanity, but it has garnered this huge fan base.
It's like the Beowulf of video games.
Totally.
It really is.
And Sora's super iconic.
Yeah.
So for me, I feel like this is a really poetic ending, and I know that Sakurai is very proud, and kind of like why I predicted him in the first place, which was because I thought that he's the gold standard for unattainable, and Sakurai's goal is to achieve the impossible, to do what nobody believes can be done, and he proved over and over again that he could do that with the Fighters Passes. And Sora was just, I feel like, the poster child for impossibilities, and he made that impossibility a reality.
Yeah. And did you hear the story? You heard the story about how he ended up in Smash? So if you're not aware of it, in chat, apparently Fighter Pass 2 was only supposed to have, 5 characters?
Correct.
And very similar to Fighter Pass 1. And apparently he met a Disney exec on an elevator, pitched the idea to Sora, they hit it off, and that's pretty much how it happened. This weird happenstance type situation, this chance encounter with this random person in an elevator that made one of the most iconic video game characters of the past 20 years come to Smash.
I could be wrong, but I think you're mixing up two stories.
Okay, you fix it for me.
Sora first, Kingdom Hearts first came about because I think somebody from Square Enix pitched to somebody from Disney. This
okay,
idea,
was that it? So what
thing.
was the story that I missed?
You mixed it up with Sakurai meeting a Disney representative at an award show.
Okay, so instead of an elevator, it's an award show. Got it.
It kind of parallels the journey of the original crossover game with Kingdom Hearts and Sora, and then Smash Brothers acquiring Sora. So because the stories are so similar, it does have this sense of poetic justice.
It rhymes.
Yeah.
I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan, and I still have no idea what's happening in the game, and I've mentioned this before. I've played every mainline Kingdom Hearts game. I've played every spin-off Kingdom Hearts game, with the exception of the Japanese exclusive mobile games that had some sort of exclusive canonized lore, I'm sure. But they're fun games. I am a sucker for JRPG. I'm a sucker for emotional storylines, and what I do understand of Kingdom Hearts is pretty emotional. I mean, there's a lot of complexity to it for sure, but yeah, I have, with the Organization 13, I have no idea what's going on with that crap. But Sora is still fun. He's a fun character. He's a fun JRPG character. I've been playing games with Sora in it since college. I'm excited that he's here, but I am depressed that Donald and Goofy did not make the journey with him.
I was going to ask you about that. I'm actually really appreciative of the Sora treatment, the way that they chose to integrate him into the game. There's the subtle acknowledgement of the Disney connection with the mouse ears on the sword, but otherwise
that was
they stuck to their commitment of completely omitting any other Disney elements, and I feel like that was really the only way to play it. I think by just keeping it strictly to the video game elements and not incorporating anything from the movie world or television world is the way to maintain the world building integrity of Smash Brothers.
The sanctity of the video game only type universe.
Yeah, and I know it doesn't mean much to a lot of people, but for me that is a very satisfying thing.
Yeah,
that, I mean, they took the video game aspect of Kingdom Hearts and integrated it into Smash. They didn't try to find a way to merge greater Disney lore with the Smash Brothers world, and I think that was really the only sensible way to play it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, I guess, movie or TV show tie-ins, you can go to the new Warner Brothers game that got leaked today with
Oh no.
Gandalf and Batman versus.
I thought that was a joke.
No,
That's a real thing.
It's legit.
Oh, I thought people were just messing around because of the Nickelodeon All Stars
No,
game.
a screenshot got leaked of the roster, and then Warner Brothers put a cease and desist out on a video showing the screenshot. So they pretty much confirmed it's real based on that cease and desist.
Wow.
That's what
That's
happens.
interesting.
Like, honestly, they should have left it alone, and everybody would have fought over, is this real? Is this not real?
Totally. I'm case in point. I thought it was completely fabricated. I thought people were just having an online joke, as they have been doing since the beginning.
I still would have liked to see Donald and Goofy make it in the final Smash, and that's it. I wasn't expecting them to scrub Disney out of everything. I wasn't expecting to see like the stained glass windows have all the Disney mentions gone. I mean, Maleficent's castle is still part of it to a certain degree, which is, I guess, the closest thing we have to a Disney representation in the game at all, except for the mouse ears on the Keyblade. But
I'm actually surprised that even made it. I'm surprised they didn't change it to like the Smash icon or something.
Yeah, and they zoomed right in on it, like right off the bat. Like they're not hiding it.
Yeah.
But he's fun. He's a fun character to play as, for sure. I would say that he is a tad bit overpowered when it comes to the, I guess, what do you call it when you have to get back
the
onto
recovery?
The course? Yeah, for recovery.
His recovery is crazy. But he also gets launched really far. So I'm curious to see, once people get to spend a little bit of time with it, how they're going to adjust the game. Maybe he will get reined in a little bit, or maybe they'll find that in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty well balanced.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. He does have a lot of impressive strengths, but you also have characters like Kirby who can recover from pretty much anywhere, but because of the floatiness, they're also a target in the air. So Sora's got that aspect going too. He can get launched real far, and he's pretty easy to queue up when he's falling down.
You know, it's pretty impressive that Square Enix walked away over the span of a few years 4 DLC characters. They had Cloud, they had Sephiroth, they had Hero, and now they have Sora.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's super crazy, but I think for me, I'm happy Sora made it, but the thing that is, it's borderline depressing for me is that the speculation's over.
Oh yeah, I'm with you there. I really
Waluigi never had his day.
Love this. No, poor Waluigi. So is Waluigi the only like missing piece, like the only truly overlooked character in all this, or
it's
Crash
still Crash?
Too, yeah.
Crash. Yeah. It makes no sense that Crash never made it in. He is video game royalty, in my opinion.
You want to make some people mad? All
sure.
Right, so
let's do it.
Who in the Fighter's Pass would you trade for Crash?
Who? Oh, easily. It would be Byleth in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. I'll toss my Byleth amiibo out the window right now. Absolutely. I'll trade every Fire Emblem character for Crash. Every single one. You can have my... What do we got? We got Marth, Robin, Lucina, Ike, Roy, Byleth, and Corrin. And who else? There's one more.
There's plenty. There's like just a bunch of Marths, if you ask me.
It's a bunch of Marths. You can take them all.
So if you had to toss somebody for Waluigi, who would you toss?
Any of them. Anybody.
Any
character.
Except for Sora?
No, Sora could go. That's fine.
Wow, so you take Waluigi over anybody?
I would take Waluigi over Sora, for sure. Do I think Sora fits in the game? Yes. And I've said this on every Smash Switch speculation we've ever done. Sora earned his place in Smash. He sincerely did. But Waluigi earned it a bit more. Just because he's a Nintendo rep.
Yeah. And that's my argument for keeping Byleth too. Even though I 100% agree with you that there are too many Fire Emblem characters, Byleth has one thing going for them that only 2 other DLC characters have, that being Min Min and Pyra and Mithra, is that they're a Nintendo character. And I think just by virtue of being a Nintendo character, you have more of an intrinsic sense of belonging to the cast. So I would spare Byleth and toss Joker, who doesn't even have a game on Nintendo,
I
except
mean,
for
he's
Strikers.
got Strikers.
But, yeah, that's true. But it just doesn't make sense to me that you don't have. I understand trying to pull people from other consoles to Smash Brothers, and that probably worked. And Joker definitely set a tone. He shook the foundation of what my expectations of these Fighters Pass were. But at the end of the day, I still look at him as a character like, your game's not even on here.
Yeah,
game's not even on here. What are you doing here?
I would still take Joker over ballot any day of the week.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. It's hard to argue against the removal of a Fire Emblem character.
Yeah.
And I would love to have Crash in the game and Waluigi in the game. But I think Sora being the number one most requested character from the Fighters Pass, or Fighters Ballot that came out that ultimately culminated in us getting Bayonetta. First of all, I'm really happy that they revealed that, and that they also revealed that Banjo and Kazooie ranked very high.
Yeah.
Because Nintendo isn't always forthcoming with
the not at all.
These kinds of things. So
because they knew who they were going to pick before the poll. The poll was there for strictly our perceived benefit that we're going to make a difference, and they didn't care who we picked. I sincerely don't think they cared.
I totally think they cared because they used it as a reference point to determine which characters are going to get people to buy in.
It's pretty simple though. If I were to say, if let's go back like 7 years when they first announced the Fighter Pass, it would be pretty easy for anybody to predict who would be on the top of that list. Nintendo knew who the top of that list was going to be. They even made a statement at one point saying that voting will not determine who the fighters are.
Yeah. But I think that they did utilize that information to give us characters that were highly requested. And I'm positive that, like, they gave us Bayonetta, but I'm positive that Sora, Banjo, King K. Rool, Simon Belmont, Ridley, Inkling were all way higher than Bayonetta. But I think that they also knew at that point that they were rolling right into development on Smash Ultimate, and they were going to make some of those characters, save some of those characters for that game. So that's why we didn't get Inkling. Inkling was probably super high at that point because Splatoon broke on that console. It was a runaway hit on a console that was pretty much dead on arrival. And that character, people wanted to be smashing with. And not surprisingly, that was the first character revealed for Smash Ultimate.
Yeah. It's funny how they never mentioned how high Waluigi made it, though. They were very quiet on Waluigi.
Yeah, interesting, huh? He's got to be pretty near the high.
He had to be
pretty near the top.
I want to touch on one more thing then, and it's Kingdom Hearts related. This was from Deku Link Gamer. So Kingdom Hearts is also finally coming to Switch in a cloud-based format, which I despise.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
I don't have a lot to say about this. It's a PS2 game, 1 and 2. There's no reason why they couldn't be ported to the Switch. They did the HD re-releases on the PS3, which the Switch has more power than, or at least is comparable in power. They could have done it. Kingdom Hearts 3, maybe that would have been a bit tougher. I still think they could have pulled it off, but why they went the cloud route, I'm guessing just to make it as cheap as humanly possible to port these games over to the Switch. But yeah, I'm not thrilled about the cloud-based way that we're going with the Switch games. Guardians of the Galaxy just launched as a cloud-based only game on the Switch. It's not the best experience to play these games.
I get that some games it's the only way for the Switch to be able to handle it, but like you said, at least 1 and 2, even if they use the HD versions, you got to be able to run that on the Switch. Yeah. I can't imagine. And if you can't, then even just scaling it back a little bit has to be able to get it to fit. I know that this is a game that would sell.
Yeah.
And I do think that the cloud aspect is going to dig into sales. Like, I think people will specifically not buy it just because it's cloud, where you'd get a lot of people who would buy it just as an impulse buy.
Oh yeah, game collectors want copies of the games. Yeah, there's no reason why I would want this game on my Switch. I mean, I get a lot of people that the Switch is the only game console they have, and maybe they just want to play the games, but I think a vast majority of Kingdom Hearts fans have already picked these games up. So We'll see. I'm curious to see
Switch
what
is the
sales
only
numbers are gonna
console
be.
I have, and I would not buy any cloud-based game.
Yeah.
Like the idea of buying a game that I'm completely 100% beholden to online access to be able to play is criminal. Criminal to me.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're going to subscribe to some cloud-based game, the price is like $10, like a fraction of what it would be to actually own.
I feel like we're going back into our Nintendo Switch Online discussion.
See
at this
how
point.
easily it's so interconnected, all this stuff.
Yeah. All right. An hour has passed, my friend. Any closing thoughts for the audience tonight?
Thank you guys for tuning in and sharing this time with us. Jason and I really enjoy speaking with you, and don't be shy about spreading the good word.
Yeah, we're going to be continuing to do this on Wednesday nights. The replays are going to be put up on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Nintendo Wire. So if you want to find us there, you can find us there. TJ's still putting out content with me weekly, which is exciting. How long is that going to continue to go for?
I'll probably continue that through the rest of the year, and
Nice.
then maybe just transition over into spending all my news time with you here on the show.
Rock and roll. Awesome. And then hopefully next week we can have some Pikmin discussions. See
Yeah,
who
I'm
planted
hoping.
the most flowers.
I will win that for
I'm
sure.
sure you're
I
going to
don't
win
have
it.
a car.
I'm very competitive, so I might just drive around very slowly planting flowers. I will
Then
do
you
that.
might beat me. You could probably drive slowly, more faster than I can walk quickly.
Awesome. TJ, where can they find you, by the way?
As Jason said, you can check me out every Friday on Me Weekly on the Nintendo Wire YouTube channel, or if you want to keep up with me on Twitter, you can follow me at Custom Conquest.
Rock and roll. And you can find me at nintendowire.com, where we're putting out loads of articles every single day with some of the most talented writers in my opinion, the gaming journalism scene as a whole right now. Some of them are in chat right now. We have Dr. Saturn, that's the amazing Ricky Berg, who's pumping out amazing guides and articles on a daily basis. We have one of the best editors in the business, and my beautiful wife, I'm not biased. The amazing Happily Candied is in chat, so thank you for coming as well. But check out nintendowire.com if you've never seen our editorial side. We take a lot of pride in it, and we've been around now for about 6 years, and we have no intention to go anywhere anytime soon, so stay tuned to that. Then on Twitter, you can find me at AmiiboJason or at NinWire for Nintendo Wire. I think that's it. TJ?
All right, everybody. Thank you.
Good to see you, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for playing.